Welcome to the Bernadette Jackson Podcast, where we are redefining how the world views women with daddy issues by discussing topics, sharing stories, and gaining insight, all from the perspective of a fatherless daughter. I'm your host, Bernadette, the creator of Her Way Relationship Intensive and Her Coalition Facebook group. This episode is brought to you by Her Way Relationship Intensive. My 8-week personalized relationship intensive is for fatherless daughters who are ready to heal from their father loss so that they can attract and maintain the amazing relationships they deserve. If you fear you will never experience the love you want because you continue to find yourself in unfulfilling relationships that lead nowhere, this program is for you. If you are tired of performing, overextending yourself, and prioritizing everyone else's needs over your own, and you want to learn how to show up authentically and confidently articulate your needs and desires in relationships without the fear of rejection or shame, let me be your guide. I will walk alongside you as you connect the dots from the pain of your father loss to the type of relationships that you've experienced. My tested and proven method will walk you through exactly how I and my clients developed an amazing relationship with ourselves so that we can attract and maintain the amazing relationships that we deserve with others. Her Way Relationship Intensive was created with the fatherless daughter in mind. Your thinking, your struggles, and your responses have all been carefully considered when I created this program, and the path toward amazing relationships was designed especially for you. Enrollment is open, so head to BernadetteJackson.com/herway to learn more. That's BernadetteJackson.com/herway. Now, I know that I'm going to date myself with this reference, but do you guys remember the movie Jerry Maguire? I know I have some listeners who have never heard of this movie, so I'm going to paint you a little picture here. Jerry Maguire was a very successful sports agent who worked for one of the top firms in the country. He was the rock star at his office, and all of his paid clients were top performing athletes. So I can't remember exactly what happened, but I believe that all of a sudden he caught a case of conscience and then sent out an email to the entire company outlining a very different philosophy than the company culture and basically got frozen out. Okay? So if I'm wrong about that detail, charge it to my head and not my heart because it's been so long since I've seen that movie. So when he didn't receive the response that he was looking for, he took it a step further by trying to rally the company into this pivot. He made this compelling speech and everything. He believed that his status in the company would be enough to sway the employees to follow him out the door to start this new agency with this new family first philosophy. He ended this glorious speech to crickets. Okay? I'm talking nobody responded. No one was giving up their good paycheck to go with him for this vision that he had. When he realized that he was alone on a limb and he kind of was like shook at the fact that he didn't get the response that he wanted, he didn't waver. And I'm going to give him that. Like, he didn't waver. He had heart. One person, an assistant, decided to declare that she would go with him. And she said that with her chest too. Like, she stood up and she screamed, "I'll go with you." And I was like, wow, okay. All right. She was eager to follow Jerry into the vision that he painted for his future company. So they immediately went to work to call all of his clients to let them know of the change, remind them that his business savvy got them the deals that they had, and ask them to go with him to his new company. 99.9% of those top paying, high performing clients denied. They didn't want to jeopardize their standing with a man who they already heard was one flew over the cuckoo's nest crazy. See, while he was making his speech, The company was sending emails and calling all of his clients to let them know what happened and that their safest bet was to remain with the largest firm in the country. There are two scenes in this movie that I will never, ever forget. What happened next is one of them. So Cuba Gooding Jr.'s character was a football player. He wasn't like a star football player. He wasn't a quarterback or anything. I think he might have been like a linesman or something like that. But whatever it was, this guy, Cuba Gooding Jr.'s character was like Jerry's last resort. He was the last client that Jerry called. He wasn't the best player, and because he didn't bring in a lot of money for the firm, he was very low on the totem pole of just like attention and priority that he received from Jerry, even though Jerry was his agent. So when Jerry called him, Cuba's character had all these questions for him. And I guess he liked the responses that he got because he decided to follow him after Jerry fulfilled one requirement. He told Jerry that in order to prove his loyalty, he had to scream at the top of his lungs, "Show me the money! Show me the money!" In his office, where he had already been frozen out, where people already thought that he was one flew over the cuckoo's nest, crazy. And Jerry did it. Okay? All he wanted Jerry to do was to show him the money, to get him a better deal, and finally prioritized him. Jerry being willing to embarrass himself by screaming, "Show me the money," in that office that had already rejected him was all the confirmation that Cuba's character needed, that Jerry was the right agent for him. So he stayed. Okay. So now the second scene that I will never, ever forget was when he told his assistant, the same one who left with him to start his new company, and who he married on a whim to stop her from leaving. And that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day, y'all. I'm not going to get into it. But he told her that she completed him. He stormed into the house while she and her girlfriends were having a support session because, surprise, surprise, the marriage to Jerry wasn't working. And it was like he walked into a lion's den, and in typical Jerry fashion, unwavering, he said to these ladies, "I'm looking for my wife." When she emerged from behind the front lines of protection that mobilized when he arrived, he looked her in the eye and in front of all of those angry women said, "You complete me." When I was young, I believed that that was the most romantic thing that a man could say to a woman. The first time I saw that movie, I fantasized about the day that a man would love me so much that he would say, "Bernadette, you complete me." Pre-healing, I believed that having an amazing relationship that I deserved meant that my man would complete me. I had no idea that believing another person needed to complete me was flawed thinking. The word complete means having all the necessary and appropriate parts. So you remember last week that I told you that one of my trauma responses was that I was a serial monogamist. I jumped from relationship to relationship, waiting for the magic moment when my man would complete me. Y'all, it never happened. It never happened. And so I want to let you know what needing to be completed by a man actually means. So number one, it means that you're missing something that only he can fill. If we go back to the definition that says that it means that you have, or that you need to get rather, all of the necessary and appropriate parts, that means that you don't already have that. So you're missing something that he needs to fill. The second thing I want you to consider if you're looking for your man to complete you is that it means that he is responsible for your happiness. So that means that you don't know what makes you happy. You don't pursue your own happiness, and him being in your life is what actually brings that happiness to you. And that is the type of responsibility that you don't want to have, because the minute you're not able to provide that happiness, things fall apart. The last thing that I want you to consider if you're looking for your man to complete you is that if the relationship ends, you are no longer complete. If this person coming into your life completed you, then when they leave, now there's something missing again. You don't have the appropriate parts anymore. All right. So post-healing Bernadette now knows that that's no longer the goal. If my man completing me is no longer the goal, then what is it? Post-healing Bernadette has very different views and desires than pre-healing Bernadette does. After being on my own healing journey, I've arrived at a new destination regarding what I'm looking for from my partner. And that's why I teach my clients that the ultimate goal is to have a partner that complements them. I no longer need my man to complete me. Instead, I want him to complement me. So complement means to add to in a way that enhances and improves. Now, when you hear that definition, it immediately sounds like a much healthier, more mutually beneficial relationship, right? Being with your complement looks like a lot of different things to different people, but I've come to know that there are some universal truths that we can all agree on. So having a partner that complements you means that you are whole and healed, and you choose to share yourself with them. It's a choice that you're making. This is not something that needs to happen because there's something missing in you. You're already whole. You are already on your healing journey, and you now want to share that with someone else. Having a partner that complements you also means that you both are committed to learning from each other and growing together. And that is really what is going to keep the relationship healthy. It's going to keep that spark alive. It's going to make sure that you guys are always evolving. Because when you learn from each other and when you're growing together, there's an upward projection there. The last thing that I want to highlight about having a partner that complements you is that their presence makes what you have already created sweeter. So what you have already created, the life that you already have, the healing that you're already on, the things that you already do to make yourself happy, all of these things become sweeter when you have a partner that complements you. So they become a witness to your life in the best possible way. And that, ladies, is what I want for you. It's why I say that you deserve amazing relationships. If this really helped you, think about the transformation that you could receive by joining Her Way Relationship Intensive. If you allow me to walk alongside you in this healing journey, we will dismantle the belief that you have that you are not enough by yourself and build a new framework that helps you to attract and maintain the amazing relationships you deserve using my tools and proven method. To join, you can go to BernadetteJackson.com/herway. I want to thank you for joining me in another episode of the Bernadette Jackson Podcast. Next week is going to be the last episode of season 2. I'll be using the month of June to produce all new content, and I am excited about what I have planned, y'all. Season 3 will debut on Tuesday, July 6th. So I am going to see you guys next week. And remember, you deserve amazing relationships. Oh, before I forget, I'll be doing a deeper dive into this topic in my private Facebook group, H.E.R Coalition. You should join us. So if you want to be a part of that conversation, you can go to BernadetteJackson.com/community to join. That is BernadetteJackson.com/community. Bye, y'all.